All right, well, welcome everyone to get a little deeper into the design process and how do we get from, just a concept to this.
So when you're doing an addition, one of the things that's a little different is that you have opportunities to consider things like the massing of the building and the architectural expression of the building. You're changing the footprint of the house, and so that's a little bit one of the things that's really different. Another thing that's a little bit different is that you focus more on the envelope of the building. So in this project, we really didn't have any like plumbing or cabinetry that you normally would have when you're doing a remodel type of project. One of the things about the original house is that this porch right here, which is that one right there, it gets a lot of like western sun, and it also is a space where there's like this sort of combination dining room and like hangout space. What happens is that there's a lot of like harsh western sun. It makes it really hot to be using this area, and so they really didn't use it that much.
This wall wasn't here.
If this wall wasn't here.
Yeah, we would be like baking.
Yeah. So those were some of the problems that they had. And they also wanted a space that was dedicated dining room space. So the solution was to have a larger dining room space. You now have like our big dedicated living room space, and the interface between this and the outside is like north facing. This is a view looking from the kitchen to the enclosed porch, which is going to be the new dining room area. So the half wall is this wall right here?
Which is this wall right here.
Yeah.
And then this wall right here is this wall right here is going to be covered
So
with.
that wall's going to disappear? That's going to go away?
Exactly. So those accordion doors and the wall above it disappears. When I take you on the tour, I'll point out that the geometry of the kitchen roof is going to continue across, like the ceiling plans are going to continue, and really make it look like a seamless transition from one part of the house to the other. These two images are from the exact same angle. So this is looking this way, and this is looking toward this half wall here. There's going to be a return coming out. These stairs are going to come forward, similar to like the wood stairs there. And then there's going to be a wall that's going to be constructed here that's going to create a pocket. And so the sliding doors are going to like slide and disappear into this pocket. The other thing I want to point out is like right at this area, we've selected these walls as like accent walls, and so they're covered with tile because it's the transition between one part of the house to the other. Early in the design process, we also do in-house 3D rendering as a design tool. So we mocked up a couple of different versions of this. The idea was we're going to have this wood pergola structure, and so it's going to provide shade over the patio.
So basically where you see like all the dirt, there's going to be a pergola that is almost the same size of where we're standing now, but just that's really going to be the outdoor space.
Mm-hmm. Usually it'll look like a continuation of the roof structure of the house. We utilize the structure of the pergola, so like there's some big beefy beams that continue on, and you'll use this post in order to make this pergola look like it's a continuation of the architecture. We also did things like we'll be covering all the redwood with like 1x redwood trim, so that cleans up the look. There's typically like steel connectors at the base and at the cab. All of that stuff is going to be covered out.
One of the things that we always like to talk about is the emotional roller coaster of remodeling. I think it's anybody who's gone through a construction project in their home that can tell you that there's definitely a lot of ups and downs. And I always refer back to this graph, and I think it does a really good job like explaining the peaks and valleys of every project. And part of the reasons why projects really take a toll on like your stress level is part of it has to do with the length of the project. And also the costs associated with them. I mean, most construction projects there's a lot of money in the line, doing any sort of addition or remodel, it can be really stressful. But really, having the right company and having a company that you can trust, where you feel like they have your back, is really what's important. I think part of the reason Ashley and Cliff decided to work with HDR is because they felt like they would be taken care of throughout the whole project. Things like having all the design decisions made ahead of time and having everything nailed down, where we're not building and then stopping and having to ask. As Milton explained, like every detail was like, dialed in, which is so important. And lastly, this blows a lot of people's minds, but we spend the same amount of time in design as we do in construction. I mean, to some people that's like, how can that even be possible? But it's all about having all those design decisions made and really having a 3D model that answers all the questions ahead of time. Actually, I'll point this out. This is just an example of our project management tool, just how we organize all our documents, and this is what our clients have access to, so they know what does the design agreement look like, photos, the construction contract. It's all organized so people know where to find all the information. Here's another example of another tool that we use, which is scheduling. All our projects are very detailed. This is this project, and right here is today, and we're starting to install insulation. So it's knowing what's coming days ahead and what happened a few days before. That is another kind of way to control that peaks and valleys of a project.
Okay, so I wanted to point out some of the structural aspects of the project. A lot of it was trying to keep the geometry nice and clean. So yeah, so this beam, had I kept it, it would have come down this way, and the post, you would have had a post that landed on top of that half wall. Working with the structural engineer, we came up with a solution where we introduced a new horizontal beam that goes across here. This post, or this sloping beam then gets cut and rests on top of this horizontal beam. So we came up with solutions to clean things up and eliminate this. We've cast these 3 little concrete sample pads. So that allows us to kind of grind at different levels, and so that the client can approve and see the different levels of grind. And below the yellow is
which is what we're standing on, basically.
Right here, yeah.
Right here, yeah.
So there's a layer of rigid foam insulation, and so that keeps the slab at a comfortable temperature. And then on top of that, there's this really durable plastic vapor barrier, and then we have the steel rebar on top of that, which is really good in tension, and prevents cracking. And concrete is really good in compression, so the two together, provides a really good solid system. Concrete always cracks, and so one of the ways you reduce the amount of cracking is you carefully plan out control joints. So what we did in this project is we provided a design for the control joints so that it was kind of purposeful, and then we carried that design into the exterior slab as well. So not only is the look of the concrete can be similar, but the control joints also create that indoor-outdoor connection.
One of the things that we want to mention is construction costs, and what is, for example, this addition cost. In this case, this project was close to a $400,000 project, and the way it breaks out is a lot of it is labor. There isn't a whole lot of materials here. A lot of it is really just the amount of hours it takes to get all these engineering details that we talked about, and making sure that all the concrete joints are where they should be. So this is kind of just a breakout of where does the money go to, and again, it's just all the hours that it takes to actually build these structures. The kind of premiums that this project had were the concrete was definitely a special treatment that most additions don't necessarily go through, but it was very important to the client. That's why we decided to go that route. There's also a series of nano doors that are going to be basically behind you guys, and it's this gigantic door that, as Milton explained, is going to slide into a pocket. So it's those kind of those are some examples, some elements that help build the budget. And then for the pergola, instead of just, you can definitely have a company all they do is pergolas and install it. We got really creative with Milton's idea of like, why don't we just build this with conventional construction lumber and then clad it in a way where it looks like it's manufactured. So yeah, so we're gonna do a little walkthrough if you guys are up for it. I mean, we don't have to go too far, but I think it'd be cool to cover some of the things we talked about and answer any questions.
Good to see you again. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.